walk in the room, there's a table of men, always men, usually gay.
All right, welcome everybody to this week's edition of What's So Funny, a show that talks about the funny with the people who make it happen. Now, our guest this week, she spends most of her time on Broadway when she's not obsessed with Disappeared, and I mean the Broadway that's not, the east-west thoroughfare here in Vancouver. No, she's in the Big Apple, New York City, the city that never sleeps. Get ready for this gallery view into the mind of a master of the musical theater and of the trivia. Welcome, Ellyn Marie Marsh. And of course, Guy McPherson.
Hey, thank you for that wonderful introduction, Sam. And Ellyn.
Hi.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you guys. Thank you so much. I always get so nervous listening to introductions.
Try having to write them every time.
I know. You guys are very generous, very sweet. Thank you for that introduction.
You know, we've been doing this show 16 years, and you are our first Broadway star.
Oh, really? So
Yeah.
You are officially jumping the shark, essentially.
Oh, no.
By having me on.
We have had a New York cabaret performer, though.
Who?
Lady Rizzo.
I don't know who that is. Is that
she's fantastic.
Is she?
Yeah.
That's the thing about New York. I mean, you can go and you can see shows and cabarets and, live music every night and still not see everything and everybody. So,
since she guested with us, she's now lost the lady. She's lost her title, so she's just Rizzo, Rizo. Check her out. And I said Zed because you know where I'm coming from.
Canada. I love
Canada.
it. Oh.
Now you were just telling us you lived here or in Canada for a while.
Right. When I was I did Priscilla, Queen of the Desert, which was on Broadway. And before we went to Broadway, we played Toronto for 3 months. For 12 weeks, we were at the Princess of Wales Theatre. And I had to be dragged back to New York from Toronto kicking and screaming because I just loved it. I loved everything about Toronto. The streetcars, I did have my bike stolen though.
Well, welcome to Canada.
Yeah. I mean, I love how that's like Canada's idea of crime. They're like, we're not going to do anything real bad, but we will steal your bike. So, but I did love it. And I have never been to Vancouver though. So, no, wait, that's a lie. I've never been to Montreal. I have been to Vancouver. Vancouver's beautiful.
What were you doing here?
I also worked on cruise ships a million years ago.
Yes.
Yeah. And we would port in Vancouver every once in a while.
Were you doing musical theater on cruise ships?
I was. I did it right out of college just to kind of save some money because I didn't want to wait tables. So I went on a cruise ship right after I graduated college, which was like 2 years ago. And I saved money that way. I worked on cruise ships for like 18 months.
I knew a girl who did that. She was a dancer for the Vancouver Grizzlies, which was an NBA franchise located here from 1995 to 2001. And it was around that time, I think she got a job on the cruise ships.
Yeah, it was great. I mean, you're just like young, you're performing, traveling the world, seeing places you would never be able to afford otherwise. Yeah. And then, saving a bunch of money to move to New York so I didn't have to, bust my butt waiting tables.
But now you're living the dream because you are in the NBA of entertainment. You're on Broadway.
Oh, sure. It's pretty fun.
Right? Like that. That is the top. That is where you want to get to in theater.
Yeah. Yeah. Thanks for saying that. Sometimes I need a little reality check. Because it's been my job for so long, but I do kind of forget how cool it is. So yeah, it's pretty cool. It's hard work. I love it when movie stars come and do Broadway because they come from the land of movie stars and they're like, oh, wait a minute, live theater's freaking hard. Oh, okay.
Is there craft services in the Broadway theater world?
Not unless you bring donuts.
Yeah. You have your own bagged lunch, right? Oh,
yeah,
God.
exactly. It's so not glamorous, but it's great and it's fun. And obviously we're all currently unemployed, waiting for kind of the world to start back up again. What is it like where you guys
Yeah.
are? What's the hot take in Vancouver for?
It's pretty
Guy?
good. Our lockdown isn't so serious. Today, I think they reported we had 13 new
New
cases.
cases,
That's
yeah.
all in the province,
Right.
right, Sam?
So about 5 million people. Over the past 24 hours, we've had 13 new cases of corona.
Oh man.
So I
Ah.
was out driving today and the traffic was nuts. And I go, come on, people, don't you know there's a lockdown?
Yeah.
Of course, I
Well,
wasn't going anywhere.
I mean, that's the right there. Proof is in the pudding. Canadians follow rules, and Americans are inherently naughty and just assholes. Can I curse?
Oh
You
yeah.
may.
Oh yeah, they were just assholes. It's so embarrassing. Canadians are like, okay, we'll stay home, yeah, don't you know? And Americans are like, no, I want to get a fucking haircut. Like, it's
Oh
silly.
God! I
Yeah.
read an article, kind of to run with that theme, that lots of public health officials in
Mhm.
like city and county health officials are quitting their jobs because people are like protesting their houses. Like
Yeah.
the Amy Acton in Ohio, the armed
Mhm.
protesters
Yep.
outside of her house. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, they did that to Mayor de Blasio just last night, Mayor of New York. They
Yeah,
went outside
sure.
his house. Yeah, I mean, God, everyone's just looking for someone to blame, and people are following orders. I mean, yeah, but nobody who's a public servant should feel not safe in their own home.
Yeah,
That makes me
exactly.
super sad.
Our own
Mhm.
premier here, so the our province's leader, there was a protest outside of his house, and he politely asked them to leave, and they did.
Yeah. Oh God. I mean, that's just right there. Again, Canadians. They're like, okay, yeah, that wasn't nice of us. Let's go play hockey. You're
Yeah.
like,
That reminds me of that old joke. Have you heard this? How do you get 100 Canadians out of a swimming pool?
you ask them to get out.
Yeah. Okay, everybody out of the swimming pool.
Yeah. It's just everyone is just so nice and lovely. It just makes me embarrassed it's just, yeah. We're monsters and Canadians are amazing, and bring me back there. I don't know. Do you guys have anything for me to do in Canada? Just bring me back.
No.
Well, not yet, but you got to do you do more of the traveling Broadway performances?
No, I mean, I travel for enjoyment, but I don't travel with shows. I just
Right.
stay on
That's a
Broadway.
one step down. That's one step down, those people, right?
It's not.
New stars stay on Broadway.
Yeah, I mean, it's not one step down, but I mean, it is. The 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 goal is to obviously be on Broadway and stay on Broadway.
Mhm.
But the times I have gone out of town, like Priscilla when I was in Toronto, it's always to bring a Broadway show in, because we go out of town to kind of like perfect it. Like I took Kinky Boots to Chicago, Priscilla
Yeah.
to Toronto,
Yeah.
Pretty Woman to Chicago. So you go out of town, and then it's the idea to bring it to Broadway. So I don't do any of the touring stuff. That's kind of for more of the youngsters,
Yeah, who cares? Who cares if people outside of New York see mistakes?
Yeah, nobody cares about Columbus, Ohio.
Nobody cares.
I'm just kidding. I love you, Columbus, Ohio. I love you.
Oh
Please
no.
don't be mad at me.
Here, Ellen, I am such a fan of theater.
Yeah.
I'm not a gay man. I'm
Uh-huh.
not a gay man. This is what I do. Seriously, like any level, community theater. We said, hey, look, what's that one? Legally Blonde is playing in Spokane, Washington at a community theater. Let's go.
So
I'll
good.
drive by a high school and it'll say, hey, we're putting on whatever. And I'm going, hey, I'm coming to this. I don't know anyone in it. I just love it. The higher levels are better, but I enjoy all the levels.
It's
Legally
fun.
Blonde is one of my favorite shows.
It's a great show. Were you
I
in
love
Legally
Legally
Blonde?
Blonde. I was not. I wish I was.
Ah.
It's actually a really, really, it's one of my top 5 favorite shows. It's so underrated. It's really good. Have you guys seen Broadway shows? Like, have you been to Broadway and seen the magic?
Well, I've
I have
seen
not.
Grease at a high school theater once.
That's not Broadway.
No, you're right.
Yeah.
I haven't. I've been to New York a few times. Never been to Broadway. It's or have I? I don't think so.
Well,
But I've seen.
Caroline's on Broadway, right?
Yeah, I've been to Caroline's. Yeah, but no Broadway performance. I've seen a ton of musical theater shows in my life. Young Frankenstein, Drowsy Chaperone, Joseph a few times, Showboat, Guys and Dolls is maybe my favorite. West Side Story, of course.
All good ones. Really
Yeah,
solid choices.
aren't they? I mean, but you could go on and on.
I have been to Caroline's. This is a funny story. I've been to Caroline's once, and I went to see Sarah Silverman.
Mhm.
And
Former guest of this show.
really, I was gonna say she's Canadian. She's not Canadian.
She's
And
not.
Tig Notaro opened for her,
Mm.
who I'm obsessed with, but I didn't know who she was until I saw Sarah Silverman. And fast forward, my next project is written by Sarah Silverman.
Oh, her musical.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's called The Bedwetter. And the only time I went to Caroline's and like paid the money and did my 2-drink minimum was to see Sarah Silverman, because she was like my female like comedy hero. Because she,
Wow.
she has absolutely no fucks to give, and I just love her. And then I saw Tig open for her, and I'm like, and she was so funny, and I'm just a huge fan of Tig as well.
So different, hey, than style.
Oh, so different. And
Yeah.
Tig's style of comedy is, she's impeccable, and I could never pull it off. And I covet like her sense of comfort in silence, and her like, it's just, she is one of a kind. I just love her.
Yeah, very dry.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic. And does Sarah know that this story?
She does. I told her. Yeah, I said the only time I sprung for Caroline's was to see you. And that was over 10 years ago. I mean, it was my daughter's 11, and it was before my daughter was born. So maybe 12 years ago even.
Wow. So when does the Bedwetter open?
So we were supposed to start rehearsals just days after the shutdown. The shutdown happened on my birthday, March 12th, and we were supposed to start rehearsals a couple days later. And now we are essentially postponing it a year. So it opens, April of 2021.
And that's at the Linda Gross Theater?
It's at Atlantic. Is it called the Linda Gross?
Yes, the Atlantic Theater Company.
Atlantic Theater Company. Yeah. And it's so brilliant. Have you guys read her book or heard about it or anything?
Oh, yeah, I have it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I know from her TV show, the Sarah Silverman program, had music in it all the time. She has really catchy, fun tunes. And I know she had some help from Adam Schlesinger in this. Did she write some herself as well?
I think she contributed some lyrics, but most were written by Adam. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, that's gonna be great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be really, really good. I'm really excited. Super bummed it's postponed, but like, I guess it's just kind of the carrot at the end of the stick, something to look forward to after the world picks itself back up again, I guess.
I am also obsessed with true crime. So, I mean, we got a lot to talk about here.
Yeah.
But we're going to stay on Broadway for a minute because, or longer than a minute, because I'm fascinated with that, having never had a guest from the world of, from that world of theater before. Just like you say, you're going to be in this new Sarah show. You're obviously doing other work. And I know from your cabaret performances that you probably do while you're doing Broadway as well. Do you?
Yeah.
Like, how do you keep all these lines in your head?
That's such a good question. I don't know. I'm one of those people, like, I get more done and I'm more productive when I have more to do. So just kind of keeping everything, like, that's how I function, like, doing a show and doing a one-woman show. And I've written a couple web series and, the podcast and everything. So I don't know. I think the trade-off is I sacrifice basic human knowledge sometimes. Like the doorbell will ring and I'm like, what's that? Like, I like something's got to give. I don't know. So, but yeah, I mean, that's just kind of like, the name of the game, just constantly moving and creating new things. I love to create content and, I'll pretty much, you just throw everything at the wall and see what sticks, but Broadway is what pays the bills, so that's always the constant.
Have you been an understudy?
Yes, I have.
Now, don't understudies have to know several roles?
Yes, we do.
You're like, how is that possible? It just seems impossible.
Yeah, no, you just know it. You just do it. And it's so funny you say that because I also teach. And this week I'm teaching at a camp and I'm teaching Kinky Boots. And I'm doing a lot of numbers from it and some scenes and some music. And it's just amazing how it just all comes back to you. I've been out of the show for a year and a half. I was in it for 6 years though. And it's just kind of just your body. Like I was just doing the dance and my body just kind of takes over and just is like, oh yeah, I remember this whole thing. So I don't know.
Yeah, it just boggles my mind. I don't know how you do it. So I respect it
You're
so
very
much.
sweet. You're giving me more credit than I deserve, but
Possibly, but
Now, when it comes to, you mentioned, the creation of content is so important and exciting and fun. Do you ever just after a show go to a bar and then just, sing at the piano because you're hanging out with your friends in the bar? The reason I'm asking is that's how the improv started.
uh-huh.
And like, does that still happen?
No, definitely not. No. In terms of like content, I like creating more online content. But what's crazy is that sort of if I were to do something like that, like let's say I went to like a little piano bar and they
Yeah.
would be like Broadway's Ellyn Marsh, and then you just bomb, and people are, you don't know what's gonna happen, and then you go and you're like, oh man, like 100 people just saw me bomb, and now they think Broadway. So it's like it almost causes more anxiety to kind of like
Sure.
live up to that, you know what I mean? So I tend to actually like karaoke nights or something like that. I tend to actually be super shy about that kind of thing.
Really? You don't just do all the Cyndi Lauper hits?
No, but I do. No, I think what's my go-to karaoke song? I like the karaoke in the little rooms, like where people can't see you.
So just your friends are in there.
Yeah.
Or do you mean going in alone so no one can see you?
No, could
really
you imagine
sad.
just sitting and going, turn around, never know? No, I don't do it by myself. No, but like in a little room of people, but I hate feeling like it's a performance because I feel like the expectation is so high.
Ah, yes.
Yeah, with the long walk up and the long walk back.
Yeah, totally. So I don't really do that as much, but I do love going to see other people perform and anything that's like for a laugh. I like at karaoke playing kamikaze karaoke. Have you ever done that?
No, what is that?
You just like your asshole friends just pick a song and you have to sing it whether you know it or not. And if
the
you
best.
don't know it, you just have to fake it and try and find the melody and try and fit something in the chord and you just have to sing.
Oh, wow. But it's like a
I would
song
like that.
you know enough to know how the melody goes, but you may or may not know the words.
It honestly just depends on how big of an asshole your friends
Oh,
are.
I love it.
Like your friends could pick some like, Belinda Carlisle nonsense from, 1991 off her B side of her third album.
Which sounds like you know what that is.
And then, someone could give you, I Will Survive and make you sing it in a female key. You never know, but it's a pretty fun game.
Guy, are you ready to give it a shot?
Do you want to go, Sam?
Yeah, let's do it.
No, but Ellen, this is sad. Sometimes we get a karaoke channel on our TV. I'm sure you have it there too. And sometimes I'll put it on and my wife and son are asleep and I'll just sing quietly to them. I'll pick my tunes and sing.
I feel like you could make a YouTube living off of that. I feel like you could monetize that.
Just you only pick songs that have really low rights costs.
Yeah.
So just had like Christopher Cross's second album. You
Right.
know?
So we don't get it. So we don't get into any trouble. I like
Yeah,
that.
right.
exactly.
Hey,
Listen,
Ellen, how's your?
yeah.
Go ahead.
No. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, how's your cold reading?
Pretty good. My cold reading's pretty good.
Okay, scroll down to the bottom of the page. Give it a shot.
Okay, this is Ellyn Marie Marsh, and you're listening to What's So Funny on CFRO 100.5 FM, Vancouver Co-op Radio and podcast.
Hey, that was not bad. Wasn't perfect, but not bad. Thanks.
Not bad.
Wasn't perfect. Had a little stumble. I can do better. Should I do it again?
But you kept going. That was the thing. No, we'll get you in like half an hour.
Okay.
So as a kid in California, you're a California girl.
Yep.
Yeah. Now, and just a performer from day one, right?
Yeah.
Like you must have been really annoying little kid.
Annoying as shit. Yeah. My parents, when I was a baby, I was in a car seat and, screaming about God knows what. And my dad walked into the bathroom and put me down, and I happened to be in front of a mirror. And I stopped crying and just examined all angles of my face. And then I continued my performance, and I just continued to see how my face looked like, crying with my mouth open, crying with my mouth closed. So from then on, anytime I cried, they just plopped me in front of the mirror and just let me, do my set.
What's my best side for when I cry?
Yeah.
Which,
what a little
funny.
monster in the making. Just absolutely. Yeah.
But theater school, did you do that as a kid? Were you at the Fame High School?
No, nothing like that. I actually was sort of split my time. I was half theater nerd, half jock. I was super
what was
athletic.
your sport?
Yeah, my main sport was soccer. And I also played basketball and volleyball, but my main sport, 6 days a week, I played competitive soccer. And I got to the point where I was super tiny and really fast. And I played midfield, and all the girls kept getting bigger and I didn't. And so around 16, I really kind of had to make a decision about where I was, where soccer was going to take me and where performing was going to take me, because I sort of split my time evenly. But I just was so small. I was just I really, really looked like a little girl, and everyone kind of grew into women. And, so then it was there that I was like, okay, I guess I'll do this musical theater thing. Where was soccer going to take me? Nowhere. And so, yeah, so I kind of, then I put all my focus at age 15, 16 into performing.
So has there ever been a musical set on a sporting field or centered around sports?
There's a couple, none that I've been in, but there's Lysistrata Jones.
I don't know that one.
Yeah, it takes place basketball. High School Musical has basketball in it.
Right.
I can't think of what else has. There's a play called Larry Bird, which was a really, really interesting play.
Not musical though.
No.
Would it be?
No, it
was
wasn't
that like the Birdcage?
No, it wasn't called Larry Bird. It was called Bird something. It was about Larry Bird and someone else.
Magic
Bird? Was that it?
Bird and Magic?
Was that it? You might be right. But yeah, just a couple little things with sports references.
Yeah, maybe that's where your soccer playing was taking you. Sometime in the future,
right?
It will all come together.
Yeah. No, I loved soccer. I loved growing up playing sports. California was really, really soccer centric, and I loved it. You just learned so much about discipline, teamwork. Obviously, those lessons that you learn as a kid are really embedded in you. And my ex-husband is English, and then my love of soccer kind of reinvigorated because he would watch soccer all the time. So then I got super into following football and the World Cup and everything. So I still really, really enjoy watching soccer.
What team is your favorite?
So I love World Cup soccer
Mhm.
just because I love, the country and the pride and everything.
Sure.
I love the way South American teams play. I just feel like they're a little scrappier and a little dirtier, and like a little bit like they just hustle. They're not afraid to throw their bodies. So I love, Brazil is amazing. Uruguay is amazing. But my ex-husband was English, so he followed English teams. But English culture, I mean, Canadians and English aren't, too far apart, but English culture, English really love to suffer. So they love staying with their underdog teams and just complaining about how horrible they are.
And at the same time, getting mad at other fans for liking a more successful team.
Oh, absolutely. It's all about the tragedy of it all. It's all about this team that's never won a fucking game, but I'm going to stick with them. It's like, but American, like, for example, I'm from the Bay Area and we grew up Warriors fans, and my brothers now are pissed because there's all these bandwagon Warriors fans.
Sure.
And they're like, no, we love the Warriors when they sucked. Okay. And so
and they suck now.
Yeah.
So that's good.
But you don't get that in England. They're loyal until the end, whether they suck or they don't suck, so I respect them for that.
Are your brothers all older?
They're younger.
Or younger? They're all younger?
They're all younger.
They all start with a J. Their names all start with a J. And here you are, Ellyn.
I know, including my stepmother. I don't know. It was a conspiracy. But yes, thanks for doing your homework. Yeah, I have John and Joe, and then Jeremy's my stepbrother. So it's John, Joe, and Jeremy and Ellyn.
Yeah. And I also read that you didn't know what your father did or does.
Oh no. Yeah. No, my I don't know what my real dad or my stepdad does. I think my stepdad did construction, and then I think my real dad was like a transponder.
I don't know what that is, so I don't blame you for not knowing.
Yeah.
I made it up. It's a made up word.
Okay.
I don't know.
Okay. It sounds good though. Sounds like he was a smart fella. Hey, Ellyn, we got to also say that you are a co-host of this podcast. How long have you been doing Obsessed with Disappeared?
So we've been doing it for only a handful of months. And we were obviously a little bit stalled up by, when coronavirus made an entrance on stage, right? So, we've only been doing it for a handful of months, but I do it with my best friend of 20 years, Patrick Hines, and he has another wildly successful true crime podcast called True Crime Obsessed. So we have True Crime Obsessed and Obsessed with Disappeared. So I'm fairly new to this wild world of podcasting.
But not new, presumably, to the series Disappeared, which you are, unless titles lie, obsessed with.
Yeah, I mean, I'm generally obsessed with all things true crime. Yeah. And Patrick and I both had a love for missing persons cases. I think it's because it just spikes your anxiety in such a way. And, sometimes they're solved and sometimes they're not. And so we were both obsessed with the show and decided to make recap all the episodes. So we're going episode by episode from episode 1, season 1. I think there's 9 full seasons. So that'll keep us busy.
It'll keep you busy. Are you putting them out on a regular basis? Is there a schedule to it, or just whenever you can?
Yeah, we put them out every Wednesday.
Right. So you have to go back and rewatch, I assume. You're not going from memory over 9 seasons. Yeah. I love true crime. I read about it. I watch the documentaries, either feature films or series. I don't know Disappeared, but now I'm going to be obsessed with it because I'm going to hunt it down.
I mean, there's so many. Another reason we wanted to do it, is a lot of these cases are still open, and they're older cases. And I mean, there is so much, and true crime is so, it used to be very niche, and it's not really anymore. It's so mainstream. And there are so many cases that get so much of our attention. And what I love about Disappeared is there are so many cases that don't get that attention that we're kind of bringing back to life. And people are researching and going to the websites again, because like you never know. Two of the cases that we've already covered are people that actually went missing and were found. So
Really?
yeah. So you really never know. You never know who's watching. You never know who's listening. So we'll see. Let me ask you this. What are your favorite true crime cases? Like if you could name one case, what has been your favorite case to kind of like watch or follow, or what has really like come back to you in the back of your mind?
Oh man, I watch and read so many that I don't know, other than the one that got me started as a kid, which was the JFK assassination. But that's even beyond true crime. That's like conspiracy theory stuff.
Right.
Um, but I mean, I remember watching Unsolved Mysteries, and that
Yeah.
was in the 80s and 90s, and American Justice, which I think is the greatest of them all, and you can't find it anymore. Forensic Files, yeah, no, I don't know, but if you tell me, maybe that'll jog my memory. Like, do you have one or two that you're thinking of?
So, a question that we always get asked is if you had the power to solve one crime, which would it be? What answer would you get? And I guess, I mean, there's so many, but the one I always come back to because I feel so strongly that they have the wrong guy is the Adnan Syed case.
Oh yeah,
But
that's from
there's
Serial, right?
yeah, there is a documentary out. I haven't seen it though, and it's the case against Adnan Syed.
Yep. Yeah. I
I
watched
refuse to
it.
watch that one. Oh, did you? And
Yeah.
do you think, did that change your mind?
I just don't think he did it. I
Yeah, but that documentary says he did, because
Yeah.
it's the
No,
case
I've
against
read,
him.
and there's
Yeah.
another podcast. I think it's called Undisclosed. Um, I don't know. I mean, that's the reason I want to know. Like, if someone really said, I have the answer to
Yeah.
one case, which would it be? I just feel such an emotional connection to it. And I think also because this, first of all, obviously the coverage of Serial was so comprehensive, and Sarah Koenig did such an amazing job. But I also really love hearing from from the people, from like Adnan, or like when you hear someone's testimony or someone's case, because rarely do you, and you hear so much from Adnan, and I think that is so telling. I don't know why. And I think it's being an actor. Like I really read, and I mean, like that sounds super cheesy, but I really read people and I hear people, and I feel like I'm a good judge. And I don't know. I feel like he didn't do it. I don't know.
Would you
I agree.
be satisfied if the case was solved, but the true the criminal had long since passed, so justice was never served?
Yeah, I mean, I think I always think I'm a parent. I always think that so the crime happened against Hae Min Lee, right? And I always think about her parents and just that closure that they must need, and that maybe they have decided that Adnan did do it, but just as a parent I would always think you would want to know the answer, because I always feel like a question mark is worse than anything. So justice would not have been served, but I feel like my emotions are more with the victim's family. I just would feel like if I were a parent I would want to know.
Closure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the case that comes to my mind, hearing you talk, two of them, there was a series of documentaries about the West Memphis Three,
Oh,
was it?
yeah.
Those teenagers. I
Yeah.
forget the name of the documentary, but they have now been exonerated and they're
Yeah.
out of jail. But they spent 20 years in prison,
Isn't
and
that crazy?
I just would love to know if it was that guy's stepfather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I mean, there are certain cases like we love, like I feel like everybody has a theory on Jean Benet. Everybody has
Mm.
those real high profile cases that for one reason or another get more attention than others. That is a reason why I love Disappeared, because most of them are lower profile cases that never got the big media headlines, like Madeleine McCann,
Hmm.
all those things that bring our attention, especially, Jean Benet. I mean, we're still debating Jean Benet. That was 20 years ago.
Hmm. More than
So,
that.
Yeah.
yeah, it is
Was
more
it?
it would,
Yeah.
yeah.
I would also love to know Making a Murderer, that guy.
Ah, yes.
Yeah. What do you think?
I think I don't think he was stupid enough. I mean, he's not a bright guy, but to do it. I like he's like you say about Adnan. We hear him talking. He's out there. We
Yeah.
see his family. They're giving all the information and then all the info on the cops and what they did. I don't know. It's fascinating.
I mean,
I have a friend who's a police officer, and she said she believes he did it.
oh, really?
Yeah.
I just feel like it is characteristic. I feel you let me know if you do this, but if somebody like were to accuse me of something, something silly, like whatever, taking something, I would be like, no, 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 I didn't do it. I didn't do it because this and that, and I would feel like I needed to say every reason why I didn't do it. But whenever I feel guilty about doing something, I'm very quiet. I'm like, yeah, if you get busted doing something or telling a lie, or I'm always very like, embarrassed or ashamed or a little quiet. Whereas if I feel like I'm wrongfully accused of something, I really feel like I have a story to tell. I don't know. Maybe
Yeah.
it's me.
I'm not a good liar, and I think I would blush if
Yeah.
I'm trying to lie. But then I think this too: if I'm innocent and I'm being accused of something, I know that they think that I did it. And so I know that I sound like I'm lying, even if I'm telling the truth. And I think I would blush anyway. Like, I think I would fail a lie detector test.
Oh yeah. Oh please, everybody. I would fail a lie detector. If you asked me, my name was Ellyn Marsh, I'd be like, I have no freaking clue. I would fail. Like, I mean, I
No, you've got too many lines in your head from all the shows you're doing. You can't have real life stuff in your
exactly
head.
no. I wouldn't be able to do it. So yeah, no, I'm with you. I could. Whenever they say we gave them a lie detector test, I'm like, oh gosh, who cares? That's why they're mostly not admissible in court anymore.
Hmm. So you've been buddies with Patrick Hines, your co-host on Obsessed with Disappeared, for 20 years, you said?
Yeah,
All like where did you meet? In New York?
we met in college.
In college?
Yeah,
Emerson?
yeah, Emerson College in Boston.
That's where Eddie Brill went. We had him on the show. He's from New York
Oh.
a few weeks ago. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, there were some really brilliant people came out of Emerson. Right, a lot of writers, a lot of people. Eliza Schlesinger, who's hilarious, went to Emerson. Yeah, it's just a super creative place. It draws really self-motivated people. And Patrick and I met and fell in love, and we've just been in each other's lives, through weddings and divorces and kids and everything.
Mhm. And then his idea was, hey, Disappeared. Let's do a podcast. Or whose idea was it?
Oh, it was 100% his. Yeah.
Yeah.
I am riding his coattails for sure. Yeah, he was like, do you want to do a podcast? I think, because we have been in each other's lives for so long, and we are each other's biggest fans, and we champion each other's work, but it's never really crossed over, save a couple things here and there. Like I did one of his live shows for one of his first podcasts, little things like that, but we've never really had the opportunity to fully collaborate, to the point which we actually really didn't even know how each other worked. even though we're so close, like we've never actually sat and worked together. And it's obviously a pleasant surprise that, we work great together. We sort of have the same mind and the same timeline, and we both are, front footed with everything that we do. So it just happened to work out, but we were actually like, we didn't even know if this was going to work out well. So it has. It's good.
Lucky coincidence. Yeah.
I
Now
know.
he is involved with Broadway too. What does he do?
Well, he had a bunch of Broadway podcasts. That's how he got into podcasting. He was just a big Broadway fan, and he did 2 Broadway podcasts. He did one called Theater People, which was an interview-based podcast, and he did one which is a brilliant podcast, which is called Broadway Backstory. And it takes, it's very like sort of NPR style, documentary style podcasting, I guess I would say, that talks about show to show. Like he takes Hamilton, In the Heights, Fun Home, Kinky Boots, and he interviewed dozens of people involved in basically what it takes to make a Broadway show. And it's super informative to anyone who's not in the business, just how many work and people and years it takes to actually bring a show to fruition. So it's really brilliant.
And outside of podcasting, though, was he involved in theater?
So he was an acting major when he first went to Emerson, and then he transferred. He was just like, he didn't have the stomach for it. He didn't have the heart for it. He just, he went there. That happens when you go to university. You think you want to be one thing and then you want to be another. So he stopped acting while we were in college. He said he didn't have the drive or the talent for it. His words, not mine. And he just decided to do something else.
And boy, does he. I mean, but I think we can agree that's too many podcasts to host.
Yes, definitely. For sure. And he is, he's very theatrical in the way he speaks, the way he carries himself. And he's had so many jobs that require him to act. Like he was a concierge. He's written 2 books. He's pretty much done everything, but I think everything can come back to your acting training. You know what I mean?
Man. That's why you 2 have to live in New York or New York adjacent.
Right.
You just think of something and you do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Time for another cold read.
Oh my gosh. Okay. 1 second. Okay. This is Ellyn Marie Marsh in New York City adjacent, and you're listening to What's So Funny with Guy and Sam on CFRO 100.5 FM, Vancouver Co-op Radio and podcast.
Oh, nailed it that time.
That was great.
Fantastic.
Thank you.
Yes, Ellyn Marsh or Ellyn Marie Marsh. You answer to both, I take it?
Yeah, I answer, whichever you feel like writing down is fine.
Yeah. Now, you were also a singing waiter, weren't you?
How do you know that?
Well, because, I'm a professional. I don't get paid for it, but I act like one.
Wait, how far back did you have to go to find that?
I don't reveal my sources.
Oh man, that's good. Yeah, that is really good. When I moved to New York, there was this, or there still is, there's this restaurant called Ellyn's Stardust Diner. And it's full of actors. And I didn't want to, so I had gone, when I moved to New York, I immediately left to go on the European tour of West Side Story.
Who did you play?
I was Consuela and I was Anita.
Oh, wow.
And so I immediately left. And when I came back, I was like, I don't want to blow through my savings. So I took a job at this place called Ellyn's Stardust Diner. And you wear poodle skirts and cat eye glasses and you sing, you take turns singing. So I was like, if I'm going to wait tables, I might as well be singing on Broadway, because it's technically on Broadway. We always used to make a joke. And I worked there. And the great thing about it was all actors. So if you had an audition or you had a gig or you had something, it was sort of like a revolving door of people going in and out. So it was kind of the best scenario. And I got fired. So,
why?
Wow.
So I was waiting on these 2 gentlemen one night. It wasn't busy. The place was slammed all the time, believe it or not. It is so busy. It has the most expensive, disgusting burgers you will ever taste in your life. So I was waiting on these two guys, and it was sort of slow, and we were chitting and chatting and talking, and they weren't from they weren't from around them. So I was telling them places to go and, giving them a lot of attention. So then they were like, "So do you want to come out with us?" I was like, "Oh no, sorry. Like my boyfriend wouldn't like that." And they just shut down. I was like, "Okay." They were asking me out to go with them. So then the bill came and they left. And they left, and they didn't sign their check. Like they didn't actually give me their signature. So I thought maybe either they took the receipt or they forgot. So I ran after them. I had to run down the street because we would have been held responsible for that money. Our owner was a dill bag. So I ran after them. I'm like, "Hey guys, you didn't sign this." And they grabbed it out of my hand and he just signed it, like super rude. And I looked at it. I was like, "Oh, wait, were you trying to stiff me? Like, was that your plan?" And I didn't get it. Like, not only did they not tip me, they tipped me $0.00, but they were going to stiff me. And I busted them. So I was like, whatever. And I just walked away. Couple weeks later, I get called into my manager's office, and he hands me a letter, not an email, a letter, a typed letter that these two men wrote saying how horrible the service was, how horrible their food was, a full page typed single spaced letter. I was like, "Oh, that's hilarious." And I was just like, "No, these guys were such jerks." And the owner was like, no, the manager was like, "I have to fire you."
What?
I was like, "What? Like, you're taking their side?" And he said the owner's name was Irving. He has since dropped dead yelling at a server. That is the God's honest truth. He was like, "Irving saw it and demanded you get fired."
Oh, jeez.
And I took off my poodle skirt and I walked out in my underwear. I walked out of the office in my underwear.
Wow. You showed them.
Yeah. I was like, okay. It was just the dumbest thing. And I think a week, and then I think a week later, I booked my first Broadway show, and they still were like, "Oh, well, Ellyn Marsh used to work here." I'm like, "Get the fuck out of here. You fired me."
For not dating a customer.
Can you believe that? But it was a letter, you guys. He wrote a letter. He put a stamp on it. He took that letter with the stamp and he put it in a mailbox.
That costs like $1.
Yeah. I mean, I was like, "Man, you were burned, dude." Okay.
Well, I thought you were going to say, and those two guys were, and they were some really famous people.
Oh man, I wish. No, they were just I just couldn't believe it. And it didn't even dawn on me that they were trying to stiff me. I looked at them "Oh, you're stiffing me. Okay, cool."
And they just laugh. You got to laugh at that. That's unbelievable that someone would "What are you guys doing?"
Yeah.
But you think in today's climate that you wouldn't be fired?
No. And that owner was an absolute, he was a wildebeest. I mean, he was just the worst. He literally dropped dead of a heart attack screaming at an employee.
How old was this guy when he died?
1 million.
Oh,
I don't know.
bro.
He was, I don't know. You can just old as shit. How old is old as shit? I don't know. 90 maybe.
45?
Yeah. No, he was an old man. Yeah.
Oh man. So in the Broadway world, just sort of ties in, has there been any backlash in the Me Too movement? Or have they gone unscathed?
That's a great question. It's interesting because there are a lot of gay men on Broadway. So the Me Too movement has extended to men as well.
Men on men.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because a lot of gay men have spoken out about that sort of sexual harassment. I don't think that the Me Too movement, I have not personally felt victim to that at in Broadway, but it definitely is a boys' club.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, in terms of creators, producers, it is a lot of white men in a room making decisions for a lot of people of color and females. I think that's coming to change, but it really hasn't. So while I feel like on stage, we see an example of a diverse culture. I think behind the table, we're a little bit behind.
Hamilton will have helped that, right?
I mean, Hamilton on stage, but a lot of white guys created Hamilton. So
Also, isn't uh, isn't there one company that has like 20 theaters in Broadway, like in the district?
I don't know what the breakdown is. I mean, there's the four big guys. I don't think anyone has 20. I could be wrong.
Oh.
Are you talking about the Schuberts?
Yeah, like
Yeah, the
however
Schuberts
many.
might have the most. You might be right that it's like up there.
Wow.
Maybe it is 20. But yeah, there's the theater owners, producers, creators, and actors. Even though we sort of have the most quote attention, we're really the low man on the totem pole.
Really? Yeah, I guess that's true in Hollywood too, or no?
Oh yeah,
Yeah, actors low on the totem pole.
Yeah, we're really, we don't really have a lot of control, a lot of say. I say that, but we do have some, but the real decisions are made way, way, way above my pay grade. I mean, I would love to make those decisions one day. I would love to be behind the table. I would love to be more on the creating side, but it is definitely an uphill climb for women and people of color.
Do you do non-musicals?
Yes, my last play on Broadway was a Tennessee Williams play called The Rose Tattoo.
Really?
So I am one of the lucky ones. I've actually done 2 plays on Broadway.
Nice.
I did The Rose Tattoo, which was a revival of a Tennessee Williams play. He actually won the Tony for originally. And I was also in a brilliant play, which was a massive flop called Enron.
Oh, yes.
Yeah. It was very, very good. And
but okay, so it was very good. You say it was a brilliant play, but just didn't connect somehow.
Yeah. Huh. You know what it is? It actually goes back to English culture, believe it or not. I can't believe we're back on that. But it was written by a British woman, Lucy Prebbles, and
a woman, you say?
Yeah, she's very brilliant. And it satire. It was a satirical telling of the Enron scandal and the fall of Enron, and it was so brilliant. And we used satire and multimedia. And you know what? The bottom line is, Americans do not like to laugh at themselves.
Did it do okay in England, I wonder?
Smash. Huge.
Oh, yeah. Oh, wow. I'd love to see it here.
Sold out for sold out, could not get a ticket, hottest ticket in town, complete flop on Broadway.
Huh.
Hey, Ellyn, you also do Sam mentioned off the top, like you host a trivia night?
Yeah.
Is it general trivia or is it Broadway trivia?
So I do 2. My dear friend Brett Thiel and I, we started a trivia league. It is called Broadway Trivia League, but it is general knowledge trivia for people on a Broadway show schedule. So, we working on Broadway, we work opposite hours to the rest of the world. We get out of our job at 9:30, 9:45, and then on later nights we can get out at 10:30. So on Tuesdays, we usually have early shows. So we saw this sort of opportunity to make a trivia league for Broadway people. So it is general knowledge trivia. And it's called Broadway Trivia League. And we created it and we hosted it. And then since quarantine started, a great website by the name of Theater Mania asked us to come on and do Broadway trivia for a Broadway audience. So that is just a quarantine thing. But my trivia league is just general knowledge trivia, because who doesn't love a pub quiz?
Right.
That's great.
How would you do on Jeopardy?
I'm really good at the things I'm really good at. But
Yeah.
I'll see a category and I'm like, yes, like I'm really good at biology, super good at history, bad at root words. What would be your? I love word games. Like I love before and after.
Oh, those are the worst for me.
Oh yeah, I love those.
Yeah. It takes me too long.
To
But
fit.
yeah, when I watch every episode, I think, yeah, I could be on this show easy. And then other nights I would be embarrassed to be on there.
Right.
It all depends on the luck of the categories, as you say.
I know. I love playing college. Don't you love playing college?
Yes. Yeah.
I feel so smart
dumb
when
it
they
down
do
a bit.
college around.
Hey, so do you have any trivia questions? Shoot my way right now. Any that you remember from your nights?
All right, I have them right here.
Okay.
What is something you're really, really good at?
Oh, I'm not really good at anything. But
what about
Math.
Math? No.
Jazz
I'll do
music.
Science. What about science?
Oh, you
No.
could try me.
No. Did Sam say no?
Sam's a no on science. Jazz music. I think both Guy and I.
She might not
like
have any
jazz.
questions.
No, I really, really don't. But let's see. I'll give you an easy one.
We don't want easy, Ellen.
Well, I want easy.
Okay.
What
Sam
is
wants easy.
ZR, the chemical symbol? What ZR is the symbol for which chemical element?
Zirconium.
That's what I was going to say.
Zirconium.
That's right.
See? There you
Okay.
go.
Okay, Sam got
Fine.
that one. Give me another one.
What type of creature is a barramundi?
How do you spell it?
BARRAMUNDI.
Oh my God.
I'm going to guess
Barramundi.
Australian.
That's not a type of creature.
Yeah,
Let's say a lizard.
met
It's a
Australia?
lizard.
no.
What
It's
is it?
It's a fish.
Oh.
There.
Let's see. Before Mount Everest was discovered, what was the highest mountain in the world?
Kilimanjaro.
Sam?
No Googling, Sam.
Yeah, I'm not going to Google that. Let's say K2.
You guys.
What?
Pompeii.
It's Mount Everest. Even though it hadn't been discovered, it was still
Well,
That's
that's
the
not
highest
trivia.
mountain.
That's a trick question.
Yeah.
What?
Okay.
Just because we're Canadian doesn't mean we're not going to call out trickery when we see it.
Okay, last one. Let's see. How long did the 100 Years' War last?
Oh, gee, I don't know. 5 years?
I'm going to go 20.
I'll say 100. 105.
Sam?
Mm-hmm.
Was that, do you have a guess?
20.
116 years.
Oh,
I could do this all night, you guys. I love trivia.
Yeah, so do I, or I thought I did until those questions.
That was a trick. That was a trick. I apologize.
You followed up a trick question with a seemingly trick question, right? Like, how long is 100 Years' War? Or who was buried in Grant's tomb? Or who is buried in Grant's tomb?
I have a trivia question.
Okay.
Rounded to the nearest single digit, how many pounds are in a metric ton?
I don't know. How many, wait, rounded to the single digit, how many pounds are in a metric ton? I don't know.
Now, rounded to the nearest 5.
I don't know your wacky metric. What do you guys do? Yards?
What?
No, you do yards.
What do you guys do? You do meters? Oh yeah, you do meters. I don't know that. Yeah,
we also do yards. I'm gonna guess, Sam, is it 2,000?
2,205.
Oh, so
nice.
I was off.
I would never have known that. You guys with your metric system and your free healthcare, get out of here.
And obeying orders.
Yeah.
Yeah, obeying orders and you nice clean streets. And you normal leaders prime ministers. Get out of here.
Our
You're
prime
going to be
minister has
one
a
of us
beard.
soon.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
I have a
I will.
question. We are normally a comedy interview world. That's most of our guests have been comedians. And you living adjacent to the greatest comedy city in the world,
Mm-hmm.
what's your favorite club to go to if you ever go?
Comedy club.
Yeah.
I have been the most to Gotham. And I like it there.
Okay.
I have also been to a couple places in LA, but I get such anxiety watching bad comedy, you guys. Like there is nowhere I would rather be anywhere than watching painful comedy because I take on that anxiety.
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I have to know whose set I'm going to watch, and I have to know who it is because I went to the Comedy Store in LA and I don't think I breathed for 2.5 hours. And some were
Really?
totally funny, but
Yeah.
I just the idea that someone might make a joke and might bomb is just it's honestly enough to make me have a handful of Xanax and just go to sleep for the rest of the night.
Well, that and a 2-drink minimum, you will go to sleep.
I mean,
Then
right.
all I have to say to you, Ellen, is don't catch Sam Tonning if you're in Vancouver.
Oh, really? Where do you play in Vancouver? You guys, I do need to come back to Vancouver. Where do you mostly
At the Yuck Yucks, the big comedy club in town.
Okay. All
And
right.
also the House of Comedy.
Yeah, that's not in Vancouver though, but
Close enough. Adjacent.
adjacent.
What
So-
have you ever bombed, Sam?
Oh God, yes, all the time.
So-
it is the worst.
You don't bomb all the time, Sam, but yeah,
well, not
you have.
anymore. Yeah.
What is the escape route? Like what does that look like?
It is finish up and forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
That's it. What are you going to do? You can always analyze it later, but to know, and this is the thing in anything in life, is that whatever anyone is judging you for, it's only for that action in which you're involved at that moment, and not who you are or who I am as a person.
Right.
So it's okay.
And also heavy drinking.
Well, that's regardless of comedy performance.
Okay.
So I have another question for you guys. Who is your favorite old school comedian? Old school meaning like Eddie Murphy, George Carlin.
Mhm.
And who is your favorite contemporary stand-up comedian?
Guy, would you like to go first?
Old school, I would say I'm going with Seinfeld.
Oh.
Jerry. He's contemporary, but his older stuff is great, I think. And Sam, you give your old school name.
Well, I'm gonna have to go Gary Shandling.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And if not Shandling, number 2, very close, would be Dennis Miller. His
Yeah.
early stuff. Yeah.
So funny. All right. And contemporary?
I'm going to
So many.
go Dave Attell.
Dave Attell. Nice.
Yeah. Yeah. Even though he's an old man now.
Yeah. I mean, he's been around for a minute. He's been around since
He
I was a
has.
kid. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. He's still the funniest.
Yeah.
And I'm going to bypass that question. I don't like to play favorites, Ellen.
I love it.
Except in the moment, you are our favorite guest of this week.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I will honestly take it.
And we've kept you a long time, and so our time is running out, but it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. You guys are a blast.
One day, I want to go to Broadway, and I will see Where's Ellen playing. That's the show I'm going to see.
I hope so. I hope that's true. I'd love to have you guys and show you around city, although your city is way cooler.
And also the True Crime podcast, which is obsessed with Disappeared. I am going to find Disappeared and start watching them all, and then listen to you guys.
It is pretty funny. It is a comedy podcast.
Yeah, we got to say that.
So it isn't for everyone. We never, laugh at the victim or we never laugh at the crime. We mostly laugh at the things surrounding it, idiot police officers, dumb detectives, a funny prosecutor, a nosy sister or something. And sometimes it's just what's going on in the actual documentary, because also that's hilarious. But we do try and find the funny and kind of bring some levity to the situation. So that should be said.
Exactly. You got to laugh. If you don't laugh, you're going to cry.
Absolutely.
All right.
Yeah.
Ellyn, thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you guys for having me. You guys are awesome. And thanks for having me as a guest. I'm so honored.
Thank you very much for talking. That's it.
All right.
Sam, good night.
Good night.
Good night. Good night, everybody. Good night, Ellyn. This sounds like the end of the Waltons.
I know.
You're too young for that.
Good night, Sam. Good night, Guy.
Good night.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys. Thank you.
Bye.